Alright, Minecraft's new Creaking might seem boring until you realize it has a few broken abilities that I don't think are intended. One of which is being able to spawn thousands of mobs instantly, but also there's now a really easy way to send a signal all the way across your Minecraft server instantly simply because a player loads a chunk. So here's everything you need to know about how the Creaking currently works until, let's be real, they're probably going to patch some of the tricks in this video because they're kind of powerful, but hopefully not. Anyway, let's start by reviewing how they're meant to work. First, the Creaking can spawn in the brand new Pale Gardens at any light level, but it does still have to be night. And of course, as it spawns, a Creaking heart appears with it, which is a block that's usually hidden in the trees nearby. The Creaking heart is its life force. You break the block and the Creaking ceases to exist. It's that simple, and you can find the heart by punching the Creaking and then following the particles, leading to number 2. The Creaking only has 1 health point technically, but is immune to all forms of damage, except for the void, idiot. It doesn't take knockback when hit. It doesn't even have a flame animation when it's on fire. Here is a beta male warden versus the Giga Chad Creaking. Bro doesn't even know he's under attack. Number 3, as you probably know, the Creaking can only move when you're not looking at it, and yes, I know what you're thinking, and yeah, it has no idea F5 exists. And finally, number 4, this is not a Creaking, it is a Creaking_transient. Alright, so if you use the summon command or use a spawn egg to summon a Creaking, you'll find that they die really easily. That is because Creaking, the mob that you spawn from the spawn egg, is not the one that spawns naturally. It's a dud. If you kill it, you don't even get the Monster Hunter achievement. You cannot spawn the real one, Creaking_transient, with commands. You can only summon it the intended way by placing a Creaking heart between 2 pale logs and waiting for night. And yes, you can get Monster Hunter from breaking the Creaking heart, and also you can collect them using Silk Touch. Now for the fun stuff. Number 5, the Creaking will die for 3 intended reasons. Either because the heart was broken, the sun rose, or it got too far away from its heart. Too far away meaning outside of a 32 block radius. To be clear, the Creaking will by instinct refuse to travel more than 32 blocks away from its heart. That's because it knows it would die if it did. You can try this yourself by taking a Creaking to the edge of its range and then just pushing it out a little further until it dies, which kind of means that if you're too lazy to find the Creaking hearts, a punch 2 bow is a valid way to take down the Creaking, though of course since you didn't break the heart, it'll just summon a new one. Number 6, now this starts to get interesting. If a Creaking is in loaded chunks, but you happen to unload the heart, ready for this? It does not die. This means while the heart is unloaded, if you can bring the Creaking away from the heart remotely somehow, it won't vanish. And would you look at that, you can get them into a minecart really easily by placing one between you and the Creaking. Perfect. Now just a warning, there's always going to be a buffer layer of lazy loaded chunks at the edge of your render distance, and if either the Creaking or the heart is lazy loaded, then this trick isn't gonna work. So once you make sure that there is one whole chunk between the chunk with the heart and the chunk with the Creaking, and then you travel 1 render distance worth away, you can successfully steal your very own Creaking without it realizing it's out of range. If you want to practice this safely, you can double check that you have the setup right in a creative world by just building this machine in the chunk between the Creaking and the heart, then just travel until the point that it stops sending messages in chat, and at that point the machine is lazy loaded, so you are exactly far enough away to do this. Now for how to take care of your new remotely entangled Creaking. First, never ever load the heart. Loading the heart will kill it instantly. Although you don't actually have to worry about the sun rising anymore, because with the heart out of render distance, the Creaking will no longer die during the day for some reason. How convenient. Second, never ever unload the Creaking. Unfortunately, unloading the Creaking will also kill it. Man, if only Mojang made it 100 times easier to make a chunk loader in this version. Oh wait, they did! Ender pearls will automatically load chunks now. So with a stasis chamber in the same chunk as your Creaking, you can now keep the guy loaded for as long as you're online, no matter how far out you travel. Just hope that the server doesn't restart, which would unload every single chunk and would obviously kill any remotely entangled Creaking. But regardless, with that one simple trick, you've unlocked the true powers of the Creaking. Okay, so imagine you built a vault or a base, and you wanted to detect if anyone so much as got nearby it. You could set up a Creaking heart inside the vault, and then take your Creaking out of range, unload the heart, and then bring it all the way to another base and put it on a pressure plate. And genuinely, these two structures could be millions of blocks apart, and if anyone ever loaded your original base, the heart would load, your Creaking would die, and you would detect it instantly. I don't know what you do with that information, maybe ping your guards to log on, I don't know. But you don't even have to be at your base. You could hook this up to a cat bonker or to a stasis chamber, and if you're ever just on the day-to-day and you see the death message of the pet in chat, then you instantly know what's up. Well, either that or someone found your cat and sent a false positive. Number 2, a great use for your entangled Creaking is an indestructible mob. Now, obviously you're not going to be able to make indestructible walls out of them, it's not like they're going to sit still, but they're definitely a really good griefing tool, and you could probably make a really good trap out of this, though I haven't spent a lot of time on that yet. Number 3, if you set your entangled Creaking free, you might notice that it won't chase after you depending on where you are around it. Remember how a Creaking will refuse to travel further away from its heart if it's almost out of range? Well, even if the heart isn't loaded, the Creaking still knows where it is. You can tell because the detection particles still point to home, though they travel a lot faster depending on how far away you are, but this means that the Creaking will only choose to chase you if it's in a direction that leads closer to the heart, never further away. It is a mob that travels in one direction, which means a Creaking can secretly be used as a compass, which, you know, I'll be fair, is probably the least useful thing in this video, but it's still my personal favorite trick. And of course, when the Creaking dies, you know you're close. But finally, number 4, this one actually has nothing to do with entangled Creakings, I just think it's something we're all thinking. You ever wonder what happens if you collected thousands of Creaking hearts, placed them in a massive grid, and then waited for night? Yep! It's a brand new do-it-yourself mob switch that only works at night. Yay! Alright, bonus facts. Even though they can survive in lava, it does not mean that they can swim in it well, so lava is basically glue for them. They also seem to be calibrated to normal FOV, so any field of view that's over 70 kinda ruins the magic. You can see them moving at the edge of your screen. You can't spawn Creakings in the nether or the end, and if you push them through the respective portals, they will disappear instantly. It does not matter if the other side is loaded. So this one is only for overworld enjoyers. And finally, if you spawn a dud Creaking so that it can take damage for this test, then give it resistance to keep it from dying, and then get a ranged mob to shoot it, or even get a golem to pummel it, no matter what mob you pick, it will refuse to attack any other mobs in the game. Further proof that this is the chillest mob in the game, it only has one enemy, and that is you. Yo, I wonder what would happen if the sun rises. And they're all gone. Let's hope that doesn't happen to all the new glitches. Seriously though, Mojang, listen. Let casual players have Creaking as a horror mob, and please, let technical players keep entangled Creakings, thank you!